Hey everybody, welcome back to RPG Shenanigans. RPG Imaginings. Shout out to Orcus for stealing my intellectual property. Thanks, man. Anyway, welcome back to RPG Imaginings. Package from Noble Knight today. Noble Knight is located in Fitchburg, Wisconsin, which is just outside of Madison, Wisconsin, and University of Wisconsin-Madison is the university that I first matriculated from. And unfortunately, I didn't really know about Noble Knight. I think it's even possible that Noble Knight didn't really exist with the presence that it had online until after I had left Wisconsin. So there's a little fun trivia for you. Looking around for an unboxing knife and not really seeing one. So I suppose, no, that's not going to work. Maybe, yeah, we'll do this. Okay, here's a big stack of razor blades. Let's hope I don't injure myself, eh? All right, so it's working. That's what's important. Gotta get these separated out. They were oiled, but they don't really want to separate. I'll probably have to use a screwdriver to separate those. Anyway, today we are unboxing some role-playing game supplements. Ooh, this one. There should be boards on these. And there are. We have the Dinosaur Protocol for Savage Worlds. We'll bust into that soon. And we have the Persephone Extraction for Night's Black Agents. If I could just get these things in frame, we'd be good. How about there? Can't really see it. It'll be in frame later, trust me. And then Night's Black Agents Solo Ops. You know, it had been a long time since, well, it's been a long time that I have been interested in Cthulhu Confidential, the one-on-one solo gumshoe system written by Chris Spivey and others, but that's actually become very, very difficult to find. So in the process of sometime in the future obtaining a copy of that, I thought that I'd check out Night's Black Agents Solo Ops. And I will be the first to admit to everybody in the audience that I'm really late to the party for Night's Black Agents. A student actually recommended it to me right when it came out, and he was super jazzed about it, and I really wasn't into the whole like vampire espionage genre at that time, and so regrettably I kind of just ignored his advice. But then slowly over time I became more and more a fan of Pelgrane Press and the writing that they do. I'm going to have Fearful Symmetries on the channel as soon as I'm done reading it. I'm really having a blast reading it. Speaking of Night's Black Agents, if you know about the Dracula dossier, which is sort of the marquee campaign for Night's Black Agents and is kind of a modern masterpiece that Pelgrane put together for Night's Black Agents, well, Fearful Symmetries, I think, is going to be that for Trail of Cthulhu. I'm really impressed with what it is. It's what I would call a next generation campaign. And, you know, the people who write at Pelgrane Press are clearly very smart, okay? I love a lot of the things that they write. I also don't think that Trail of Cthulhu needs to exist or to solve any problems that exist for the other game, okay? But I do love what the authors of Pelgrane Press write. And so first one here we have is Night's Black Agents Solo Ops. And the idea behind these solo ops is this is one game master, one player. Which, you know, this would have been really great for me to have taken a look at during the early days of the pandemic, but I didn't. And so this is basically a guide for you to adapt individual characters to solo play for Night's Black Agents. And then it gives you a series of tools that you can use to bring characters through. And a lot of these look like we have some adventure hooks and clues here. the Linnea Dracula, so detailed information on vampires and vampire powers. So this is all like GM information about how to run solo ops, ghosts, types of clues, chases. Okay, and then we have Never Say Dead, which I think that this is maybe we'd go so far as to call this a campaign. It is a highly in-depth scenario, it looks like, because it's lasting Oh, I see. There are multiple scenarios in here. Okay, and so Never Say Dead is one large scenario. And then No Grave for Traitors. And then we have The Deniable Woman. Looks like the consistent theme here is that we have a antagonist who's threaded throughout all these games. And Back Matter, which basically I think is the appendix here, which gives you cards for various problems, edges, and contacts. So yeah, definitely will be interested in checking this out. This is an example of RPG research for me as well. One of the things that I think Pelgrane does particularly well is trying to put meaningful spins on TTRPGs. I think that they proved that with the Dracula dossier. I'm interested in their solo ops and the advice that they have for running GM and player one-on-one. And when I show you Fearful Symmetries, which I'm very excited to do once I'm done reading it, I think that it's going to further showcase some of the awesome stuff that Pelgrane Press does with their books. Okay, next we have a series of scenarios for Night's Black Agents, the Persephone Extraction. Okay, very beautiful full color cover. I am not a fan, though, of glossy paper for supplements. I would much rather have matte paper. But, I'm not in control, which is fine. And so, the Persephone Extraction is a collection of 5 operations for Night's Black Agents. They can be played individually or as a 5-episode mini-campaign. Also included is a custom conspiramid and vampiramid for our conspiracy, so directors can build out from these adventures into a full campaign. I like game director as a replacement for game master. Or maybe game facilitator, but that's kind of a mouthful. Okay, and so you can see how all different aspects of things are connected together. First one being eyes only briefing for the Persephone Extraction, which is the first scenario here. And it also gives you an idea of how they all relate to each other. And, I'm just going to do a quick flip through this because if people don't want spoilers, we're not going to want to read much stuff. But plenty of support documents, handouts and stuff. Okay, way things are all organized, maps of world cities, which is something that is definitely appealing to me about Night's Black Agents, because the spy genre, of course, is dominated by world travel, is a common trope. Persephone Extraction is a really good example of a supplement that are not easy to find at game stores, and honestly, neither is Solo Ops for Night's Black Agents, and so I had done a medical study for a new vaccine over the last year, and I had my last appointment for that. And fun story, I don't like blood, but I had never really grown faint while having blood drawn until early last week, in which the poor young nurse who was practicing taking my blood was just not hitting a vein, and they kept stabbing and stabbing and stabbing, and this whole time my thoughts are racing and I start to feel lightheaded, and then I start breathing heavily, and then they had to do all hands on deck for me and fan me while I was drinking Pedialyte. But I didn't faint, which, if I faint, I faint. It is what it is. But yeah, that hit me pretty hard. Now check this out. Dinosaur Protocol for Savage Worlds. Okay, I had, I've played Savage Worlds for over a decade now, and it's one of my favorite role-playing systems. It's what I would really like for action-oriented, like universal style role-playing system. Okay, I would much rather play Savage Worlds than Dungeons and Dragons, for example, but you do what you do. And one thing that I've never really had much interaction with until I started perusing this on the intrawebs and looking through Noble Knight is that there have been quite a lot of secondary supplements that have been produced by various people licensed for Savage Worlds. And this is the dinosaur version. Part of the reason why I bought into this is because, well, who doesn't like dinosaurs? I had recently seen Orcus Dorcas highlight, what was it, Primal Fear, the role-playing game, and I looked into it, and it's, still on my wish list, but I want to get tons of deets about dinosaurs in my role-playing game. And so the one thing that a lot of people, reviewers of this Savage World supplement indicated is that there was a lot of not only information about dinosaurs, so each of them has like a huge entry and stats and whatnot, but they also indicated that in their opinion it seemed pretty accurate. Now, as a biologist, I'll chickadee check it out. I'm not seeing feathers on any of these dinosaurs, so that makes me wonder. But we also have other like cool giant creatures here. Yeah, this is definitely stuff that I'm interested in. Okay, and so this is actually a resurgence of dinosaurs onto Earth, is my understanding. Okay, yep. So sometime in the 21st century, something broke the world. No one knows for sure what happened. Solar flares, war, global warming, pollution, and environmental collapse, or perhaps a combination of all of them. Perhaps it was something much stranger. All we know is that humankind fled the surface, retreating into vast underground shelters where they could wait out the centuries until the Earth was habitable once more. But when we emerged from the darkness and prepared to retake our world, it was not as we remembered it. Something had happened to the world that once was. In the centuries without humans, nature wound back the clock, returning the planet to an earlier, cleaner, more primal age, an age of dinosaurs. All right. So yeah, definitely glad that I took a look at that, and happy to share it with y'all as well. And so thanks for watching. As I said, I'm going to have Fearful Symmetries coming up when I'm done reading it. I'm almost done reading Wise Women, and it has exceeded my expectations. I'm going to do a second video on Wise Women. It may very well be my favorite RPG of 2021. Honestly, it is so elegant. It is so well designed. It is really well written. I'm excited to get into more depth with it for y'all. And so yeah, I'm going to have more fun stuff coming at you on RPG Imaginings. Have a great day, everybody.